All right, guys. Well, hello. Happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend, whatever you did, and great start to the week today. It's funny because I was at a bachelorette party this weekend, and I always bring a book with me on the flights because I can't really listen to music unless I download music prior, and I just like to read because I feel like I never really have time to read except when I have to, I guess. So the plane ride was perfect. So I've been reading the Rachel Hollis Girl Wash Your Face book. And there was this one chapter. So I don't know if you guys have read the book. If you have, then you're probably gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But there was this chapter about the lie is I should be further along by now. And it just really spoke to me because I feel getting closer to turning 30. I feel like I should have accomplished all these things in my life at this point. And I feel like I have accomplished things, but maybe I haven't accomplished other things that similar people in my age range or with my background or my degree or whatnot haven't or have accomplished that maybe I haven't. So it kind of just really spoke to me. So the lie is that you should be further along by now. And some of the things that she mentioned that helped her to kind of get over that lie was making a list. So list out everything that you've already accomplished to date. So instead of writing down the things that you want to accomplish or things like by 30, I want to do X, Y, and Z. Instead of doing that, list out what you have already accomplished and see okay, I'm 29 years old. I've already bought a house, which in California in the Bay Area is unheard of. So that's a huge accomplishment for me and my husband. I'm married. A lot of people aren't married at my age. That's a huge accomplishment for me. I feel like I graduated from college. I graduated debt free from college. That was a huge accomplishment for me. So making a list of the things that you already have accomplished versus being I'm almost 30 and I don't have X, Y, and Z, because then you're putting yourself into this negative standpoint of well, I have accomplished these things, but I haven't accomplished this. And it's you need to be focusing more on what you already have accomplished and thinking ahead of okay, I've already accomplished this. I feel amazing because I did this. So now what else can I put on my list that I want to accomplish by the end of the year or end of the month or whatever it is? But always look at the positive. And it says, when you force yourself to admit to all the things you have accomplished, you'll realize that it's wrong to be so hard on yourself for all the things that you haven't. So I really want you guys to think about what you already have accomplished in the time frame that you've been alive, or maybe in this year, and think about what you already have accomplished. And I'm going to ask each and every one of you to list at least 2 things that you already have accomplished that maybe you don't think of other people in your age range accomplishing, or things that you just think are phenomenal for accomplishing at this point in your life. So I'm going to ask you that, to think about that. And then one of the other things was talking to someone. So many times we don't admit to the way we're feeling because we're too embarrassed. And I feel like I have gone through a lot of those kind of hills and valleys of I don't want to talk about it because I feel embarrassed, but I know I should talk about it, because if I talk about it, then it doesn't always seem as bad as I'm making it up in my head of I haven't accomplished this. But if I tell someone else that, they're you're doing just fine. What are you talking about? Get over yourself. So having that resource or someone to talk to essentially help yourself get to a better place so that you can look at all the things that you have accomplished and then set goals for the things that you want to accomplish in the future. So when you have someone you can talk to who will listen to you say, I feel worthless because I'm not a rock star by now, then you can experience the balm of their validation. Are you kidding me right now? Look at all the rad things you've done. You are amazing. Stop being so hard on yourself. Remember, when you keep silent, you give those lies power. So talk to someone, find someone that you can talk to, have that conversation of I feel like I haven't accomplished this, but I feel like I have, or I know I have accomplished this. And then the last thing that really spoke to me was setting goals, not time limits. So I love goals. They can help you become your best self, but big dreams shouldn't have an expiration date. So I know we're always like, in the next 6 months, I want to do this, or in the next year, I want to do this. But don't put a time limit on it. Like by 30, I need to be here. Like, no, like I don't need to be there by 30. Like I want to say in 6 months, I want to be there. So like kind of phrasing it differently to say like, it doesn't determine, or my goal or thing that I want to accomplish is not determined on a time limit. It is determined on my goal or my goal time frame for setting it. So like in 6 months, I would love to be at a certain point in my life, but I'm not going to say by 30, I have to do this, because then what if I turn 30 and I'm like, I haven't done it, then I feel like such a failure. But like, if I'm like in 6 months, like that just seems like a better time frame versus having a time limit on something. And the last thing was, as long as you're working towards the things you hope to accomplish, it shouldn't matter if it takes you a month or a decade. So I think that really speaks volumes, especially in our business, because I know like going on Instagram, like you see all these girls that, went to the top in 10 months, a year. And like, you're like, how did they do it? And I'm here, 3 months in, 6 months in, and I haven't even gotten to, district manager or area manager. And I'm like, how did they, do it so fast? And I'm over here, like not doing it as fast. And I really want you to know that like, just because you haven't accomplished it in the time frame that they accomplished it in doesn't mean that you're not going to accomplish it. Like everyone is on a different time frame. Everything happens for a reason. And if you haven't read this chapter yet, it talks a lot about timing and how everything has a timing for it. So like she talks a lot about like having, when she had her first kid, like they tried for 8 months to get pregnant with her first child. And if she had gotten pregnant in that first month, she wouldn't have her son that she has now. But 8 months later, she now has this beautiful, amazing son. And he wouldn't have been the same person if she had him maybe 7 months earlier. So everything has a timing. Like whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever it is, like that thing that you believe in has timing for you. So whether you accomplish something in 6 months or it takes longer, everything has a timing, because essentially like the universe or God is telling you, you are not ready to accomplish this right now. Like you will not appreciate it at this point in time if you do accomplish it. So I'm going to make you wait 3 more months. So at 3 more months, when you accomplish it, you're going to appreciate it so much more. So I feel like this chapter just really spoke a lot to like kind of where I am at right now with like my life and my business, and like that like impeding whole, I'm turning 30 soon. And I feel like a lot of you can like really relate to this chapter in this book, and also just like not putting time limits on yourself, but setting like more realistic goals versus like being so hard on yourself if you don't accomplish something within, a week, a month, a year, whatever it may be. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about today. But I wanted to go back to my earlier question about what you have accomplished thus far. So it can be like the smallest thing, it can be the biggest thing, but what have you accomplished thus far in your life that you are super, super, super proud of, that maybe other people, haven't accomplished, or maybe everyone's accomplished this thing, but you're just like so proud of it that like you could scream it from the rooftop that you've accomplished it. So I just want to go around. I can popcorn, or you can go ahead. But I want you guys to share at least 2 things that you've accomplished in your entire life. It can be in your entire life or this past year or whatever you want, that you're just super, super proud of. So Nicole, go ahead. I'll start you off.
Okay, so the 2 things that I wrote down for what I have accomplished that I kind of forgot that I accomplished, because I'm pretty sure everyone on here has forgotten things that they've accomplished before because they're distracted by the fact that they haven't accomplished something, right? So the things I wrote down were, number 1 was I completed a bikini competition, but more so deeper into that, I transformed my health. And there's so many other things that go into that, but basically it proved to me that I can do anything I put my mind to. And the second thing that I wrote down was feeling capable of taking on anything. A lot of people that are our age, you guys, do not have the mindset that we have and don't have the open mind and the willingness to do things that are different than us or than other people. And having that mindset and having that feeling of capability is such a huge advantage, you guys, because think about it, all the people who we feel are winning now doing things that, are quote unquote normal or adult, right? What happens in 5 years when they're burnt out because they've been doing the same job, working the same 9 to 5, or being stuck where they're at? And we are the ones who right now we look like we're struggling because we not, for whatever reason, but in 5 years we are somewhere completely different than everybody else. I feel like that's a huge accomplishment, and everybody on this call, whether you feel like it or not, that is one of the things that you have accomplished as well, whether you feel like you're in the zone or not. And I'm going to share a little bit more about that after. So I'll popcorn to Aries.
My accomplishment, can you hear me? I didn't know if there's a mic on this or not. But my accomplishment is graduating from a four-year institution and receiving 2 bachelor degrees, and then also haven't being dependent on my parents since I moved out for college. And so I think that in itself is a huge accomplishment that I forget to remind myself that even though I did like 8 years of school, came like a really big reward, and also like having to not like be dependent on my parents is a huge accomplishment in itself, because like I reflect on like, even though like some of my friends have like really big like nice careers, that like they still like either live at home or they still like depend on their parents and stuff like that, whereas like my journey is like totally different from theirs, and I'm still surviving, I'm still living. Popcorn, Angela. She needed. Wait, I see something in the chat. Hold on. I'll read Millie. She said, graduated college with a bachelor's of arts degree, and then 2, affording crazy expensive rent for a 1-bedroom apartment on my own without the help of anyone else. Oh, she has to type hers because it's very loud. Popcorn, Amy.
So I kind of already said what I've accomplished, but I think like one of the hugest things that I have accomplished in my life is buying a house. Because like, I don't know if anyone's ever like looked at the process for buying a house or ever thought about it, but like it is a draining ass process, and like it's not this easy like, okay, house for sale, go buy it. Like, no, it takes a lot of like time, and you have to keep your financials in check for more than like the closing period. So buying that house 3.5 years ago, like, holy crap, it was like, what the hell? I own a house in the Bay Area and I'm only 26 years old. So it was like a huge accomplishment for me. And then I'll also say like not being afraid to like live outside of like the 9 to 5. Because like all of you know, like I don't have my corporate job anymore. I don't work at Tesla anymore. And like I've had to like really look at like what my life's gonna look like post like corporate America. And so, and like, I mean, I was scared shitless after I left because I wasn't sure like what my life would look like, but like feeling like I can live without the 9 to 5, and like being accomplished in that sense of like, I don't need to like follow the norm necessarily, because like if that's not who I am, like I don't want to force myself to be something I'm not. So super accomplished in that. I will pass to Angela because we kind of skipped over you, but go ahead.
I feel like I only accomplished like one small thing, which is losing weight with Arbonne. Like I was able to lose, I think I was like 128, and now I'm back at 120, but I'm still trying to like work out and lose my weight. But other than that, I can't think of anything else. Well, like I guess joining Arbonne, that's like a yeah.
Okay, after your bath. Oh, yours is filling up.
Could you, Catherine?
Oh.
a new
Hello?
mom.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, who is that?
Because I don't see my face on here, so I didn't know like if I'm a ghost or something.
If you click your screen at the bottom left, there's like a microphone and then there's a video. You have to like click it to either mute or unmute and show yourself or like hide your face. There we go.
Okay. Oh, now you muted.
Well, and I just wanted to point out that like if you look back in your life, you know, you've shared some deep things with us and you know me personally, and I know for a fact that you have overcome so many battles, difficult battles in your life that you don't think are good enough or you don't think are big enough to share, but overcoming like dark places in your life, like that's huge, you guys. And we've all gone through so many places where you know to other people we probably discredit ourselves, we probably make it seem so small, but in reality you overcame your own personal Mount Everest, which is like the biggest mountain ever, right? So give yourself more credit, like give yourself that power talk that you need. It's amazing that you've been able to lose weight with Arbonne, like that's huge, but imagine what that took. That didn't take just like poof I lost weight with Arbonne. That took consistency. That took like committing to yourself. That took you saying, you know what, despite all of the bad shit people are saying and all the things that are happening around me, I'm still gonna do this for me. Right? So you've accomplished so much, girlfriend. I think you need to really dig deeper with your heart and your soul and just really write out everything that you love about yourself. It's easy to pick out the things that we hate and we want to change, but writing out the things we love will make all the difference. So I love this. So I'll popcorn it over to Des. Des, if you have to type it or if you can say it real quick, you can.
I could say it a little bit. So real quick, our accomplishments I could think of were just graduating from college also, and just kind of having or had experience in that teacher role for children. Also, just getting out of my comfort zone slowly but surely, even more. But yeah.
Yay. Well, Catherine, I don't know how busy you are with your baby and your big baby, but if you want to share.
No, I'm good. I kind of popped on like a little late. So what was the question? Like something like that I've been challenged?
Name 2 things that you are so proud of that you've accomplished that you may not think of like right away. Like not, you know, things that you either feel are super important to you or maybe things that people in your age haven't accomplished, or even if it's a personal thing that you're proud of, what would those 2 things be?
Oh, okay. Well, I would say that one of them is me being sober for 7 years, because that like I used to have like really hard times, and I've been sober for 7 years, so that's pretty huge for me.
Wow. Good job, girl.
You know, and then having my son like juggling like 4 jobs and like finally finishing community college. I mean, it sounds kind of lame, like finishing community college, but honestly, that shit was hella hard, like trying to juggle it with my jobs and my son. So yeah, those are the two things.
I love that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so if you guys haven't read the Rachel Hollis book, Girl Wash Your Face, like I highly, highly recommend picking it up. And also the other book that she has, Girl Stop Apologizing, because these books, you know, they are a form of, you know, not self-help. What's the word? Performance something. Yeah, self-development. Thank you. I was like, self-help. You know, they're a good form of like self, you know, improvement and personal development, and like super easy to read. And I feel like in this business, you know, as much as like we are going to subconsciously compare ourselves to other people that do this business, like we just need to remember that like we are on our own path, and whether like our own path takes us 4 or 5 years to get to the top, or it takes a year, like that's our path. And we just need to be appreciative of where we are in our lives. And, you know, as long as we're working towards our business every single day and putting in the time and dedication and consistency, and, you know, love towards it, like it can our business will always be thriving. Like the only way that your business will go downward or not work is if you quit. If you, keep going, and you don't stop, whether you have a bad month or a really great month, like that, your business will continue to thrive no matter what. So I want to leave you with that thought about, just continuously like working on your business, being consistent. And the only way for your business to come to an end is if you personally quit. So yes.
Okay. Thanks, Amy.
You're
I love
welcome.
that. Okay, so I know at the end of Amy's training right now, she just said, as long as you're putting in the day-to-day things and, you're working your business consistently and, you're doing it with passion and doing it with heart. I just want everyone on here to be really real, including myself, but who here feels like guilty almost because you feel like you haven't been working your business the best? Or who on here feels like you haven't been giving it your all when you know that at one point in time you were giving it everything? Because I know that's me. I know that that's how I feel. And I want all of you on here to know that like you don't have to carry on that guilt. A lot of us will carry that guilt with us throughout our businesses and we allow it to weigh us down, which is like the opposite of what we need to do, right? So if you are feeling heavy right now because you're like, holy crap, like I don't understand. Like, why was I working my business so diligently before and then now I can't get myself to do anything? Right now, like without hesitation, name one thing that you are keeping yourself from doing because you're scared. What would that one thing be? And you can write it in the chat. I don't want to talk too long because I know we have a time limit. So write it in the chat, or if you can't write in the chat, it's okay because I think some of you are driving. But I know for a fact that there are so many of us, like not even just on this tribe, but in the Arbonne community, in non-Arbonne community, in everywhere in the world where every day where we don't feel like we're fulfilling our purpose, this weight of guilt and this weight of self-loathing where you're kind of just like, why am I like this? Why am I like this? It gets heavier and heavier as everything goes on. And eventually you allow it to crush you and you make it feels like you're in a pit that you can't get out of because you blocked yourself in. Right? And I know it feels overwhelming because you're like, how would I ever get back to where I was before? How do I ever get back there again? How do I ever get back to that state of commitment, that state of passion, that state of drive? And I'm here to tell you, just like this business, you build it or you take it off yourself brick by brick. Brick by brick. And those bricks, you guys, require more than just, it's going to require different, a variety of things, but it's up to you to remove those bricks of guilt from yourself. Is it self-development? Are you listening to things that are empowering you, or are you ignoring it and doing things that aren't going to help your mindset? Is it reaching out to people? Are you terribly scared again because you know how it felt before and you were brave before, but now for some reason you just can't get yourself to do it because you don't want to get rejected? Like, I want you to all take a look. You've all accomplished so many things in your life. Graduating college, buying a house, being able to afford rent. How much focus and dedication have you given those things so that you can now say that you are proud of them? And do you regret putting in that work? No, right? If anything, we are even more empowered because we know that we are able to accomplish those things, right? So if we have given so many things so much time and focus, why not our business? Why not ourselves? Why not our heart, our passions, and our mind? Right? Because how many times do we ignore that feeling of like, oh, I should probably work my business now, or I should probably be doing this, or I should probably not eat this unhealthy thing even though I'm not hungry. Like, there's so many things that we have to worry about as women and as business owners and entrepreneurs and freaking partners, like girlfriends and wives, and as daughters, as sisters, as whatever role you play in your life. No one knows the feeling of that burden or that feeling of that privilege but you, right? So do feel that overwhelm? Accept it, that there are things that you have to do in order to get from point A to point B, and just start chipping away at it. Just start chipping away at it little by little. It doesn't have to be this huge chunk of work where you're like even terrified to even do it, right? So how many times were we like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to reach out to 100 people because I haven't reached out to people in months. I get that. It probably feels like that's what you need to do because you feel guilty. But what if that feeling of having to reach out to 100 people scares you so much you reach out to 0? And if anything, you retract because you're like, oh my gosh, like this is like too difficult to even think about. But what if you made it small and you said, you know what, I'm going to reach into my heart, I'm going to reach out to 5 people with the quality that they deserve, with the passion and the heart that they deserve for me, right? 5 people, or a small amount that you can feel proud of again. And so each and every one of you on here, I don't know where you are in your business, but I see your numbers like I see mine. And I know when you're in it. I know when you're not. And the truth is, nobody is capable of making you do things other than yourself. That's like a pro and con of this business, right? It's like you're your own boss. So it's like, oh, then I can work my business whenever I want, or I can not work my business and no one will reprimand me for it, right? But is that what you want for your future? Is that what you want for your why? Have you forgotten your why balls? Have you forgotten the reason why you said yes to this business? And if that's so, then do the little things every day that's going to take you back. You don't have to be a Debbie Neal. You don't have to be a Peyton Scheibner. You don't have to be X, Y, and Z. You can be yourself. You can be yourself and make your own timeline. I have actually added or re-invited all of you on here to this group called RVP by GTC. And this group I was added into, I think, late last year. And it was basically 6 months prior to GTC. And there's this one call that I literally watched right before hopping on this one by Kendall Travers. And she pointed out that she went district in 2 months, but stayed at district for 2 years because she was passionate about her business, but she wasn't consistent. And she kept comparing herself to other people, right? But it wasn't until she said, you know what, I can be me and beast out this business. I can be me and be successful in whatever I put my mind to. I don't have to be anybody else. I have to find what works for me, right? So if what works for you is the baby steps, I would rather have you take a bajillion baby steps than think that you have to take one giant, ginormous big step and never take it at all because of the fear of falling, right? Take those little inches. Are you feeling guilty? Are you feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't even look at her, or I can't even, look at myself because I know she's right? It's okay. I have these moments too. Why do you think I'm talking to you guys about it? I would never be able to explain this to my team or to anybody in my life if I haven't gone through it myself. And in the future, when you have your teams, you'll be able to share this same thing with them, knowing what they feel, right? Because the truth is, you are all as capable of becoming the next ENVP just as much as I am, if not more. So I want you to lift the lid off of yourself. And in order for me to allow you guys to lift that lid, or I have to do it for myself too, right? So from here on out, you guys, like, we are here to support each other, but we are not here in charge of each other's success, but we are here to bring and hold each other up. And so I'm lifting the lid off of you guys. If you want to freaking go area and surpass me, freaking do it. What's stopping you? What's holding you back? Is it worth it? Where you are right now, is the thing that's stopping you from moving forward worth you staying where you're at right now for the rest of your life, or 5 years or whatever? If the answer is no, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can be one step at a time. One step at a time. Just like Amy said, don't put a time limit, but having a time frame will allow you to light your own fire under your booty, because nobody's in charge of lighting that fire other than yourself, right? And in the future, when you have a team, you want a team of independent consultants, not dependent consultants, right? I never depend on my uplines of Kristen or anybody else to make me work my business. And I can't even blame them if my business doesn't go the way that I want to, because it's on me, right? And because it's on you, you guys, I know that could feel heavy, but chip away with it brick by brick. Do things that make you proud. So before you go to bed tonight, my call to action to you all is write 6 things down that you are going to do tomorrow with no excuses. Put it on your Y balls like life and love that you are going to accomplish those 6 things to make yourself proud and chip away at the feeling of impossible, because you are possible. Whatever those 6 things can be, whatever it is, wake up early, sleep early, eat healthy, or eat, have 2 shakes in a meal, like whatever those things are, reach out to people, reach out to my upline, whatever those 6 things are, you guys, write them down and keep that damn promise to yourself. Because I know for a fact I'm tired of disappointing myself, right? And if you're tired of disappointing yourself and you're tired of ignoring and distracting yourself from, things that you're not supposed to do, this is how you start. This is how you start and chipping away at that guilt and that impossible feeling. Write those 6 things down and make it a promise to not only yourself, but to those people around you so they can hold you accountable, right? So I'm so excited to see where all of you are headed. Don't let this be the end of your journey. Don't let this feel like, oh, that's it. My 15 minutes in fame and or 15 minutes of success in Arbonne is over. Trust me, I know what that feels like. I almost quit my business, you guys. But it took one switch. It took one deciding factor of me realizing that I just need to chip away at it that changed everything for me. And it didn't change in one instant. It changed over a course of me deciding that this is what I was going to do. So how do you want these next 3 months, 3.5 months of the year to pan out? Are you going to end 2019 feeling like, oh, yep, see, I couldn't get out of the funk. I guess I was, I'm meant to be here. Or are you going to say, look, I felt that funk, I embraced it, and I chipped away at it. And I may not be where I envisioned myself being, but I'm sure as hell further than I was when I was sitting there sulking and feeling bad about myself and feeling guilty. No one on here deserves to feel guilty. Our God, our universe took care of that already. You have been forgiven for all of that stuff before we were even born, right? So write down your 6 and make it like the best 6 things that you ever accomplished. And when you do them, celebrate that shit. Be like, hell yeah, I crushed the 6. What's my 6 for tomorrow? And you guys, they can be silly things. They can be things that are just going to make you proud no matter what, even if they're small, right? Getting your workout in, eating a healthy breakfast, whatever that is. Doing your reaching out to one person with your passion in your heart. Getting 6 no's, like whatever that is, write it down. Okay, I believe in each and every one of you. And, just the fact that we have been on this, we've been this amount of people for so long, all it means, you guys, is we just have to take the baby step next. Imagine if each and every one of you just helped one person see their potential in this business and in their health. This call would double and there would be 12 people on here next month. Just by all of us just doing one. It's not this gigantic thing, right? So imagine if everybody does that every month, just one more, just one person you poured your heart to. How much that can double. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, let's do this. Let's chip away at the guilt, chip away at the impossible, and make yourself possible again. Because I know so many of you are capable of so much more than you intend to put out, right? So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being on this call. Even if you feel like, man, I don't know, I have nothing to share, you still showed up, and that means something. That means that you're still somewhere in there. The you that knows that you deserve more is there. Don't let your future self down because you're letting past you take over every single time. Okay, and that's time. Thank you guys. We'll see you on Wednesday. I love you guys. Does anybody have anything else?
Group picture.
Yes, I'm going to stop the recording, so.